48 hours after Superstorm Sandy pummeled the Jersey Shore, I was standing on the beach in Sea Bright, where I'm the mayor, and I was having a moment because I had to tell the people of Sea Bright, who are all evacuated, that they can't go home. And I don't know when they can go home. And I also don't know how badly damaged their houses are, but it's pretty bad. I know my own house, totaled. At this point, I'm running on 3 hours sleep, random snacks, and about a dozen Cokes. So I don't feel good. I'm shaky, nauseous. I didn't feel ready for that moment of leadership. I had only been in office for 10 months. People were still calling me the girl mayor. Actually, they still do. But in that moment, 3.5 years ago, what did I know about any of this? Everything that was familiar to me about Sea Bright, gone in one night. 100% of the storefronts in our downtown taken out by storm surge. The luncheonette, where I got my gossip, the library where my son learned to read. The entire landscape was unrecognizable, like a movie. Beach clubs smashed into piles of matchsticks. Homes with mud-caked water lines halfway up. In some cases, destroyed entirely, like my friend's apartment, where Thursday night dinner was a tradition. The outer wall was ripped off, and her stuff was hanging out like guts. The storm surge from Sandy had taken pretty much the entire beach and dumped it in our main street. So the sand piles in some parts were taller than I am. And natural gas was leaking all over town, where the connection snapped off from the gas main. By dawn the next morning, the people of Sea Bright were trying to get back in. But the place could blow, and we couldn't let people near buildings that might collapse. The police had the town on lockdown, but we had to get the word out. It was destruction for 100 miles down the coast. There was no power anywhere. So I called a town meeting, and with some help, lined up a high school several miles inland. And now I was scared, which is why I was on the beach having my pull-it-together moment. The ocean, which had caused so much destruction, was now calmly lapping on the shoreline. And I was thinking about my dad, who had passed the month before, and how, if he was here, he would tell me to put on my big girl pants. I didn't want to. I wanted to put on my pajamas and go home. That wasn't happening anytime soon. I looked down. Next to my foot, buried in the sand, was a piece of a sign. It was from Donovan's Reef, our hot spot, Sea Bright's landmark beach bar. The sign was broken, so only the first 2 letters of the word Donovan's remained. The word do. Really? It's that simple? Just do. So I picked up that dirty plastic and I stuffed it in my pocket for good luck, my little message from the universe, and made a list of all the facts on a legal pad, and I headed out to face the residents of Sea Bright. There was over 1,000 people outside in a football stadium on that cold November day. And as I went out onto the field, the police captain stops me. "Hold on, Mayor," he says. "You may not want to go out there. People are upset. It's getting ugly." But there was no turning back. As bad as it was going to be, I was going to put a brave face on and get through it. Just do. So I went out on the field, I grabbed the mic, and I started reading from my legal pad. But the pages kept blowing, and I was losing my place. I could hear them murmuring in the bleachers, and somebody shouted, "When can we go home?" My heart started racing. This was about to get bad. So I stuffed the legal pad under my arm and I just started talking. Without really thinking, I told them about how I had been on the beach earlier and how I had found that piece of Donovan's reef. And when I held up that sign, some people clapped. The energy started to shift. Sea Bright isn't gone, I said. Sea Bright is its people. Sea Bright is you. We're Sea Bright. I don't know where those words came from. I just opened my mouth and that's what came out. I said, as long as we help each other and support each other, we will get through this. We will do. At that point, some people hugged, some cried. Right there in a football stadium, we came together as a community. Now, was I prepared for that so-called moment of leadership? No. How it happened was that I looked at the faces of my neighbors and I felt their frustration and I knew that I had to do better. And if there's one thing I saw over and over again through Hurricane Sandy, it's that leadership is not a mystery. Leaders don't have to be unique. Leaders don't need to have special qualities. Being divinely chosen to lead, yeah, that's the stuff of story. And yet our culture builds up this idea that to be a leader, you have to be a superhero or super rich. I'm here to say that anyone can be a leader in any circumstance. And everyone is going to have a circumstance, big or small, that's going to call on them to step up and lead the charge. My circumstance just happened to be a Category 1 natural disaster 10 months into my first term as mayor. But that day on the football field, we in Sea Bright took the idea of can't right off the table. When we declared that do is what we were going to do, we did. And that positive mindset made all the difference. See, when your landscape becomes unrecognizable, literally or figuratively, turns out the only thing you can control is your mindset. And when your mindset is positive, you're going to get results that are positive. Really? It's that simple. From that day forward, I never doubted that we in Sea Bright would get through it, and we would become a stronger community in the process. Yes, it was the most expensive storm damage in Sea Bright's history, but it was also an opportunity to remake Sea Bright for the future. And a whole community of leaders stepped up to meet that challenge. It's not to say it's been easy. A long, cold winter followed those early days of dew. Congress fought over Sandy money. Flood insurers didn't pay. Some people even openly questioned whether or not Sea Bright should be allowed to rebuild. 3.5 years later, I still have moments where I feel discouraged or want to bail. Just last week, actually. But, you know, big girl pants. Looking at Sea Bright after Sandy, I saw how a group of committed individuals literally came together and created a more resilient future. I know it's possible. So I'm inviting you today. Consider making a difference where you are. Don't worry about whether or not you're cut out for leadership. Anyone can be a leader in any circumstance. But don't wait for circumstance to choose your time. How about you choose? It's the lesson from Sandy. Just do. Your community needs you. Thank you.